Good afternoon, BUSE2760 students. Since I can't be in class today, we are going to have a little bit of fun, and we're going to play with something that you actually get into in Unit, I believe it's Unit D, which is the step and repeat command. I want to show you this because it'll probably could have some application in your projects. So I want you to be aware of it. So first we go to File, New, Document. And 8.5 by 11 for what we're doing is good enough. If it's showing up in picas, that doesn't really matter. Leave the margins as they are. That's not really concerning us here. And then down at bleed and slug, and if it's not showing, click the down arrow. Go over to bleed, enter 0.5, hit enter. Hit tab, and all of those spaces up there, top, bottom, inside, outside, should fill with 0.5. If not, click the chain link. You have a broken chain, and try it again. Click OK, excuse me, and you have your document. I should mention at this point two things. Number one, I'm getting over a nasty bout with a cold and whatever has been going around, as those of you who were there last Wednesday can attest. Number two, if you're hearing some background noise, that's Monty. He's snoring happily. He's my guard dog, as you can tell. So anyway, with that said, you now have this document here and nothing on it, and that's fine. What we're going to do is I want you to do the following. The first thing you're going to do is click here. You may be showing the rectangle tool, you may be showing the ellipse tool, or you may be showing the polygon tool, but click and hold and go down and choose the polygon tool. If you double click, then you'll get the polygon settings, and you can choose a number of sides. The minimum, as you see, is 3. So I'm going to use 3 for this illustration. Ignore the star inset right now. That's for making cool kind of star looking shapes. Click OK, and then go up here to the fill color and choose a fill that you like. I'm just going to go ahead and choose blue because it's the first one, no big deal. And I'm going to make a very long, thin triangle. Now, I don't want the triangle necessarily pointing up, so I'm going to choose it. I'm going to go here, and notice when I bring this close, I'm able to turn this. Now the problem is I want it exactly horizontal. To do that, I press the shift key. Watch what happens. It locks, and then I can release. I'm going to drag this back in so that I can work on it a little bit, and I'm also going to zoom in so that you can see it a little bit better. As you can see, I've got this long, thin triangle. Now I'm going to keep it selected as it is, and I'm going to go up to Edit, Step and Repeat, and I've got this. If it says, if it's showing the grid settings, click that, uncheck this. I'm going to change my count to 5, and I'm going to give it a vertical offset of 0.1875, and click OK and see what happens. Now notice, because I had both a vertical and horizontal offset applied, that I got this nice angle thing going. I'm going to click Control Z and show you what happens if I don't do that. I can take horizontal down to 0, do the same thing, and I get it up and down. So notice right away you've got the same shape, but you've already got two different applications going, which opens up a whole bunch of possibilities. Now I want you to go back then and notice the top one is not selected. We need to select that. So make sure your selection tool is active. Go back and select them all. Now go over here to, in the middle here, you'll see a gradient swatch tool. Don't use that, but below it is something that's got the checkerboard on it. It's called the gradient feather tool. Go ahead, select that, And to keep your gradient feather, and once again, you don't have to do this necessarily, but for illustrative purposes, let's start there. Click, and I press the Shift key, and notice what happens. If I go back and click my selection tool and click out, I have this nice gradient going so that my long, thin triangles appear to go to nothing. Now, you'll see a line around it that appears like I've got a stroke, but I don't. And to prove that that's okay, you can go to View, Screen Mode, Preview, and then you see what it's actually going to look like. And it really gives it a cool look. Now, if we go back and I click Control Z, I can actually start my gradient feather way off of here. Once again, I'm hitting Shift. I can pull it across, and notice this part is lighter because I started the gradient over here. So the darkest part of the gradient is effectively missing. What does that do? Well, it screens things down, and you can screen it even further when you put it into a document. So let's go to, once again, View, Screen Mode. Well, I'm in Preview. All I got to do is click out, don't I? So I hit Selection Tool, click, and there I've got something. Now let's reselect, and this time we are going to go back to Normal View, and I'm going to get the document smaller. And notice now, if I take this over here and put this into my bleed area, look what happens. I've got something that will appear to come from off the page. Well, big deal. Okay, what if though I selected this and I hit, or actually I'd go up and hit Edit, Copy, and then Edit, Paste. It gives me a second set. Then I can take it, and notice I'm coming close here, and I get that little angle tool, hit Shift so that it confines it, and I can turn it 180 degrees. Now if I take this over here and run it off the other page, what have I got? I've got two graphics, identical, perfectly aligned, and they both meet in the center. What a fine way to put in imagery or something, or text columns around this. It just gives you something to really look at. Next, we're going to try something very quickly using a different shape tool. Okay, this time, assuming that you've left everything in place, and that's perfectly fine because I want to see it, go ahead, click and hold the polygon tool, and this time go to the ellipse tool. Now I'm going to have to zoom in here a little bit, and the problem with the ellipse tool is that it gives you just that. It gives you ovals. Now if you want ovals, that's fine, and in Unit D I believe you're using ovals. But right here, if I hit the Shift key and drag, I get this perfect little circle. Now I'm going to keep it really tiny. And once again, I'm going to go up to Edit, Step and Repeat. This time, I want the Create as Grid, and we're going to play with that a little bit. So I'm going to go up and click to about 10, and it's already got 30 in there. When I was playing around, that's the number I used. You can try various offsets depending on what you're trying to do. With a horizontal offset of 0, you're going to get this. Yeah, doesn't look too good. So we're going to hit Control Z, go up to Edit, Step and Repeat, and now we know we have to enter an offset. So let's enter, let's try that, 0.3125. You can do whatever number. Actually, I want you to play with it. Click OK. It has to think about it. I go back to make it a little smaller, and voila, I've got something that goes completely across the page. I go up, hit the Selection tool. Ooh, notice what I just did. Remember how this first one was not selected and everything else was? When you do an array, such as this, same thing. So I'm going to hit Control Z to go back there. I actually have to reselect the whole thing. So I'm going to deselect. Now everything is selected. And you can go one step further. You can actually go up to Object, Group. That way you never have to worry about it again. So go ahead, and when you get this little cool cursor, now I've got too many. I actually only want this to go this far, but that's the beauty. It doesn't matter. Nothing is going to print after this point. So I can play with it any way I want. And I'm also going to go back to my gradient feather tool, start over here, pressing Shift, go right to the end, and look what I've got. I've got this neat graphic. Now I could do a single line of these, I could do a double line, I could do a whole page. Once again, it can be reversed, it can be up, down, however you want it. And there's Mr. Miles again. I hear you guys like him. I'm gonna have to turn this off. Anyway, what I want you to turn into me is something that looks similar to this. If you want to play more, if you want to try different colors, different shapes, I have it set so the only thing you can send me is a PDF. I don't need to see anything over here under the pages or layers or links or anything like that. I just want to see the end result graphic. So play with it, see what you can come up with, and surprise me. Have a good evening, and I'll see you on Wednesday.